Hello and welcome to the Mom Training Podcast, where we discuss the skills and strategies to create possibilities in motherhood and make it more fun, efficient, organized, and peaceful. Okay, ladies, we're going to get real here. What do you do when you get emotional? Yep, I'm talking about the emotional that a majority of us women feel. If you have a spouse or partner, I want you to think about this for a minute. If you get into a fight with him before you leave somewhere, how long does it last for you? Is it in the moment, it happens, you leave and you're completely done? Or does it continue to replay and continue to move on in your mind? For me, emotions don't just let go on their own. It's either a conscious choice, having to talk it out, or distracting myself. Here's the thing though, sometimes we don't have time to address the situation. Whether we're leaving out the door for an appointment, he's going to work, we have a screaming child that needs to go to bed. Sometimes we don't have that moment to talk it out and bring peace back. Why we're talking about this today is because this literally just happened to me. I got to bed really late. Was up really early. We just went and hiked all day. And we're both tired, with 2 tired kids, which ended up in a little flash of heat, if you know what I mean. And right when we got back was the exact moment that I actually had to leave to come record podcasts. Was it something big that happened? No. But did I leave a little bit riled up? Yeah. Did we have time to talk about it right then? No. I was going to be late. And I knew that it would mess with my flow if I didn't do something about it. Yeah, I could have called my husband for the 7-minute drive, but the emotions were still hot and needed to cool down a minute before we talked about it. So I decided that what I needed to do is I needed to take this emotion and put it in a box and set it aside. Because I had a job to do and something that I needed to accomplish. This was my allotted time. And then once I get home, I'm going to pull that box back out, which it'll be a lot more cool at that point, and we can talk about what happened, because that has to happen too. We always talk things out. Communication is so key. So that box will be brought back out, and I'm sure he'll want to talk about it too. But so I want you to think about when something happens with your kids, with your spouse. Let's say your toddler is just deciding to just not listen to a word you say. Your baby has a blowout. You accidentally dump your entire purse on the floor of your car. And these things all happen on the same day. So is it possible to take that emotion and separate it from ourselves? Not that we're avoiding it. We're not saying that it's bad. It is something that we have to deal with. But does it have to overwhelm us and make us feel like crap for hours? So what if we pictured taking that emotion, wherever it is, say it's like you feel it in your chest, and you just pictured yourself taking that emotion out of your chest and putting it in a little box. Like just right out in front of you. It can float around with you if you want to. You can bring it with you, whatever. But what if we could take out that emotion and separate it from ourselves so we can get something else done and address the emotion where and when it needs to be addressed? Especially as women, we need to address emotions. We have to talk about it. We have to let it out. And if you don't, it explodes. And no one wants that to happen. That is never a good thing, to have someone explode for the people around you and yourself. Why is being able to separate ourselves from an emotion so important? Well, something can trigger us. Something can make us feel bad. And if we don't know what to do with that emotion, then sometimes it can just sit. Sometimes for days, weeks, months, I don't know. I guess I even had one experience that lasted years. It was just an experience that I was like, oh, I cannot believe that sucked so bad. And it lasted a long time that I stayed in that emotion. I wish I would have known how to take out the emotion. Now, it's not something we're going to be perfect with. It's not something we can always do. Something maybe hit us real deep. It could be something real painful, but I do believe that to a degree, we can control our emotions. It's called emotional regulation. And it's something that I have had to learn and continue to practice all the time because I need it. Today we're going to discuss 2 ways that we can disconnect the emotions that may plague us for hours, days, weeks, months, hopefully not years, but it could go that far, especially when we're hurt. So I'm going to introduce you to something today called guided imagery. This is something that can help so much with emotions and mindset. Visualization is such a powerful thing. The first thing we're going to talk about is taking that emotion that we're feeling and picturing ourselves taking it out of our body and putting it in an imaginary box next to us that we can come back to when we need to address it. Say if someone needs to come home from work, or a child needs to wake up before you talk to them, or if you need to talk to a friend, whatever it may be, but just taking that emotion out and saying, I will deal with this later. Okay, so how to do it? If you're in a safe environment where you're not driving or like chopping carrots with a knife, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about how you feel. Is there any form of discomfort inside? Are you upset at all? Are you just content and peaceful? Any little bits of stress, any type of insecurity in your mind, I just want you to think about it and really feel what you're feeling right now. If you found an emotion that isn't easy to handle, like it's uncomfortable, okay, we can work with emotions that are uncomfortable and we can go about our day doing our daily things and not even have to worry about it. It could be just like this annoying little thing in our chest or something, but it doesn't mess us up as we go. But even if it's just that little thing, I want you to pinpoint where that is in your body. My little emotion is in my heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little emotion. I'm just going to go in and picture myself going to grab it and putting it in a little box. And I personally am excited to go home and take out the box where I have put my emotion. And believe me, I won't forget about it because I can still feel a little bit of it. I'm still connected to that emotion, I'll tell you what. But the main thing is in the box. But I am excited to go home, take that box out and say, can we talk about this? Because this kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I hope you can do the same when you have emotions like that. If it's something that needs to be addressed or something that you can just let go, that you can have the emotional freedom that you desire. Because it's so much better when you can regulate your own emotions. The second thing we're going to talk about is taking the emotion and visually getting rid of it. So go back again to where that emotion is. So for example, I'll say maybe I have an emotion in my chest. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in. This is all just imagination, okay? This is called like guided imagery, okay? So you're going to go in and you're going to grab the emotion and you're going to pull it out very slowly. We're not going in there ripping things out saying, get the heck out of here. We're going to take that emotion out and you're going to place it in your other hand. Just kind of like it's like a little, picturing for me is like this little ball of little white light. And you're just going to take it and just blow it away. And you watch the emotion just fly up higher and higher and higher until it disappears in the sky. So with these 2 exercises that we talked about, of one, taking the emotion and putting it aside to deal with later, we're not ignoring it, we're not saying it's a bad thing, but instead of feeling like heck all day, if sometimes we have to wait all day, that we don't have to be completely affected by this emotion. And we can actually create a little bit of emotional freedom for ourselves by doing so. And the second example of being able to just completely let it go, if it's something that, this is something that I can let go. Something that maybe I've held on to, we've already talked about, we've already forgiven each other, but for some reason I'm still holding on to this. I'm just going to choose to reach in and grab that emotion and blow it out of my hand. So as emotional, beautiful, wonderful beings that we are, sometimes we need to be able to just let go for a minute. I hope that you can use these 2 tips for guided imagery to be able to help with your own emotional coping and emotional regulation, especially when something happens that makes us hurt or mad or frustrated or stressed, that we can just let it go or put it away for us to take care of when the time is right. You are a wonderful, amazing person. I thank you so much for joining us today so we can learn together how to be happier moms, how to make it more of an adventure, do the things that fill our buckets, and just live life more fully. Join us next week as we discuss something very important. I hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your week. Hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the next podcast is available, which is every Tuesday. Share the podcast with your other mama friends, and we'll see you next week on the Mom Training Podcast.